and welcome to my Xbox and Me, episode 470, nope, 437. I am one of your hosts, MC Mother Trucking Fixer, alongside the one and only Crash. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's it
Good,
going?
good. No, very well, very well. Thank you for joining us this week. I do
Yeah,
appreciate it. Do
I'm glad.
appreciate it. And the one and only Mr. Paul Despawn. How are you, Despawn?
I'm good. I'm here, all in full effect, ready to rock
I was
and
gonna
roll.
say, you're not very well. You're not very
No,
well. this
I
week.
am. I am a little bit under the weather, but I'm not gonna let that stop me talking crap about video games. So
And Matt, obviously, I feel like now's a perfect time to say fuck you, Matt. I absolutely hate your guts, and you're a loser. Yeah, we will agree. Perfect.
I'm
Perfect.
yeah,
I'm glad.
no notes.
Guys, you need to watch the video this week. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, the video podcast is for you.
You have to watch the video this week. You have to watch the video. If you don't know, this is My Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast, right here on youtube.com/My Xbox and Me, where you should definitely be watching this week, and all podcast services. Head over to patreon.com/MCFixer if you want to support us financially, or if you don't want to do that, just support us on our social channels at My Xbox and Me. And like I say, leave a review, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to our Patreon producer, Aaron Guard. We do appreciate you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Topic of the show this week, boys. Xbox tax. I mean, not really. I guess the conversation right now in the internet, I'm guessing this is brewing from, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm guessing this is brewing from the Game of the Year nominees coming out from the Game Awards about how, Xbox this year had a decent year, all things considered. I think we could agree.
Mhm.
Like, it was a decent year. I wouldn't say it was the best year ever. I think some of us were expecting a little bit more out of games like Starfield, which we'll get to. But overall, if you compare it to a few years ago in the Xbox world and the Xbox ecosystem, it's been a decent year. We've had Forza, we've had Starfield, we've had Redfall. Yikes. We've had
Hi-Fi Rush.
Hi-Fi Rush, that's the one I was looking for. Thank you very much. And then obviously there's been a few timed exclusives that have come out through Game Pass and things like that, as well as and Xbox has just done a great job as a whole of releasing games on Game Pass, coming out day and date and things like that. But Xbox tax, talk to me. What's going on the interwebs? I'm a little bit behind this week.
Crash, you want to take this one?
Yeah. So the conversation did start with the Game Awards and how Xbox wasn't a part of the conversation as much as some people felt like Xbox should have been awarded, and then it went into a whole bunch of other avenues rather, like media presence and how media covers Xbox and things like that, and it just really I guess you could say derailed from like the original conversation point, but I feel like in a productive way to a degree to really talk about like Xbox's perception and the way it's treated in the larger media space as is.
I guess that's a great place to start, right? Like, again, we do a weekly Xbox podcast, right? Obviously, I know, I've been doing this a long, long time. I know what I think. Xbox are treated very differently, I would say, compared to Nintendo, which is always given the benefit of the doubt, I would say, with any game that they release. And then with PlayStation, I don't know, PlayStation's a hard one. I feel like they do put out very high quality games. So when they get positive applause from the industry, we kind of all agree with them, but their misses are never usually taken as badly as, let's say, a Redfall was, I would say. From the outside looking in. Again, I'm not in those communities. I'm not in that conversation day in, day out, the way I am with the Xbox and the Xbox ecosystem, and the way Twitter works now, and TikTok and For You pages and things like that. It probably just doesn't hit my radar as much as, say, when Redfall was terrible and the world's on fire.
Yeah.
What was the biker game that came out
Days Gone.
on PlayStation?
Days Gone.
Days Gone got murdered when that game got released. Even by PlayStation fans, it got murdered. We're not gonna like act like that didn't. There was a subsect of people that acted like it didn't get murdered.
Yeah.
There's people that when Redfall dropped acted like it was the best game to come out the whole year. So like if we're gonna really play that game, maybe PlayStation side was louder because it had a bigger fan base, which you could make that argument, sure, but that's just it has a bigger player base at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think you've
By the
mentioned
way,
there. Sorry, I got to say that. I think you mentioned.
I'm gonna go on record quickly and just say Days Gone's not even that bad a game.
Stop. It's fine. Yeah.
Like, it's really not. I think
Yeah.
it was just compared to The Last of Us, Horizon,
Yeah.
you know, those type
Yeah.
of titles, and that isn't what it was.
It was
So,
a solid
sorry, go
8.
on, this one.
I was going to say, I think you touched on there about like the bigger player base. I think that's sort of a thing that as people have been talking about with this Xbox tax, is it where when they're talking about like the kind of coverage that both studios get, Xbox being number 3 in the race is very much like people are going to prioritize the coverage for PlayStation and Nintendo and then Xbox. Is I think the argument that people have been making to a detriment rather than it being like a genuine thing. It's more of a bias thing that it started to form as, which is I don't know if I fully believe. I don't know if I'm fully on board with that, but I can kind of see like if you've got limited time and you want to kind of cater to the biggest market, then you're probably going to focus on PlayStation.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, no,
Just-
100%. It's just optics, right? It's just
Yeah.
that's just how it is.
Yeah,
Like
marketing,
it's just one of those things that it's marketing 101. Yeah, I don't know. It's I guess let's break down the conversation, right? Like the big question is, did Xbox release anything this year that should have been in the game of the year conversation? Again, we haven't got to our game of the year conversations yet. Obviously, that will happen beginning of January, as we said before. Giving us the Christmas period to play and clean up any games that we've missed. But initially, I don't think anything. If I think Hi-Fi Rush was probably one of the best experiences I had this year from an Xbox perspective. But in a year where Baldur's Gate has come out, and I know Xbox players haven't got to experience that yet, but Baldur's Gate, Alan Wake, Resident Evil 4, the list goes on. To be honest with you, there's still a bunch of games I've not even mentioned that I've had great times with. I can see why Hi-Fi Rush missed out. I think on a lesser year,
Mhm.
Hi-Fi Rush is up there, and it's that brand new IP. People are jumping for joy over it. But on a year like this year, it's just not been feasible.
Also, Hi-Fi Rush kind of gets done dirty by releasing so early in the year,
Yes.
which notoriously for Game of the Year awards, if you release earlier in the year, it's harder to stick around to the
Yeah.
end of the year.
Yeah, I
Recency
mean, it's like
bias
any
is-
award show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Any award shows like that, it feels like. The one thing I will say, though, is that game doesn't do as well if it doesn't come out at the time it came out.
Yeah.
If that comes out
For
any later, that
Yeah.
game gets overlooked and just no one gives a crap about it.
Yeah, it dropped,
Honestly.
like I say, yeah, it dropped at the perfect moment when there was not a lot in that. I think that was like one of the rare moments in this entire year.
April,
where we
right?
had- yeah, we were in a bit of a lull, and then they just came around like, brand new game, play it right now. There's nothing in your backlog stopping you jumping straight in. So a ton of people checked it out, like say. And yeah, recency bias is 100% a thing. Like trying to remember that great experience you had in January compared to remembering
It's-
that great experience you had in October. It's
It's also a short experience, so it's easier to forget, right? When you're
Mhm.
thinking about like all these great games we've played, it's like if you think about something like Tears of the Kingdom, which did come out earlier in the year as well, that people could easily spend 100+ hours into that game,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
yeah,
So
I've still not finished it, so
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know if there's an Xbox tax. I think maybe that's a bit too far.
I-
There is. I do think there is a bias, but I also think that's Xbox's fault as well. Just to say, I do
Yeah.
think. Again, I'll talk about it from a content creator perspective on one part, right? We've been doing my Xbox and me now or I've been doing it now for 8 years plus. Still struggle to get Xbox games from Xbox, like because they're not as approachable. PlayStation, I get sent everything. Like anything that I want, they're very easy to get in touch with. That's just one example. I do think like PlayStation do big events, they big launches, big campaigns, like things like that do just keep them in the mind of a gamer a lot more than what Xbox does. For things. And again, this isn't a woe is me situation, by the way. I'm just talking about from a content creator perspective. Again, I go to a lot of events. You see people walking around in PlayStation merch everywhere. Every event we go to, people in tracksuits, people in t-shirts, people representing their favorite games, whether it's from Insert Coin or any other company that, again, this is not an ad for any of these, but any other game company that's out there. I just feel like Xbox's branding, PlayStation's branding is so well done in comparison to Xbox's. And Xbox are getting better. And again, I can only talk about things from the UK perspective, obviously. They are getting better, but we've spoken about it at length. Cinemas and billboards and all these little things that you think doesn't take away from how good a game is. It doesn't matter how good a game you have if you don't market it correctly and you don't market it to the right people. And it's about building up that brand, and that's what PlayStation have done since the PS4. They've built up a fan base and a brand and been like, celebrate this console, celebrate us as a brand. A bit
Mhm.
like we do with like clothes, like Nike and things like that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what PlayStation is. Xbox to kids, PlayStation is cooler than Xbox.
Yeah. Also, it's important to note like the conversation around Xbox has drastically changed over the year or the past like year or two, where they're talked about in a much more positive way, and there's more pushback against the negative than there was before.
Mhm.
So that's
Absolutely.
immediately like that is Xbox's power, like pushing against that. I also generally I dislike the term Xbox tax because it
Yeah.
very much paints it towards like it's an Xbox specific thing. But if
Yeah.
you go through any sort of like entertainment media, there is always that the popular brand is more important. Like if you're looking at movies, superhero movies, if it wasn't a superhero movie, there were a bunch of people that were like, it's irrelevant. Then you had somebody like Martin Scorsese saying, superhero movies suck. These other type of movies are better. And you constantly have that sort of discourse and that sort of disregard for a certain type of movie based off of media bias and stuff like that. So I think that sort of conversation exists across all stuff. So Xbox tax kind of paints it sort of a little too narrow in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's starting to catch headlines, right?
I
Yeah.
think the internet is I'm gonna be that old man shouting at clouds for a second. I think the internet has made it so easy to be very tribal about this kind of stuff now. And I think that doesn't help. So like we've seen, I'm not gonna mention names and stuff, but we've firsthand seen what a PlayStation fanboy argument looks like in
Oh
that it's
yes.
directly disconnected from reality. Oh, I mentioned it. Sorry. But no, it is disconnected from reality in the way that people like look at like video games, and
Yeah.
there's a tribalism to it, and where thought and reason doesn't really come into the conversation much. And I think the thought or reason kind of gets drowned out a lot by people's like again tribalism, and it makes it a little bit harder to like have those thoughtful conversations about these things. And it's so easy to, like you say, like just kind of write off Xbox as this Xbox tax thing, where it's like, well, actually, no, Xbox has been having a good couple of years. I think Phil Spencer's done a fantastic job in turning that company around. The build up that they've had over the last 2 or 3 years has been fantastic, and we're now starting to see the fruition of that. But yeah, there is definitely a bias somewhere out there with a very vocal minority that, yeah, can kind of like, I guess, like solidify that Xbox tax of actually being a thing.
The problem is we base a lot of people base their opinions on other people's opinions. And at the end of the day, people don't give things a try for themselves.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
you are more likely to, even if Spider-Man 2 came out and got reviewed poorly,
Mhm.
you yourself would probably still give that game a try because you've played the original
Mhm.
and you know that you like Spider-Man. Like you're not gonna do that with a Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna go opinion, it's not good. Okay, I won't bother. And then that's the end of that, right? And I think that's what happens. You look at these IPs that PlayStation are putting out now. They built something special in the first place, and then they built upon it. Like that's what they've done. I don't think PlayStation's had a great year either. If I'm
No.
honest, like they had Spider-Man. That's
That's
it.
it.
Like, and I haven't had a chance to play it yet. But from a first party front, PlayStation haven't had like, the greatest year ever. They just have the biggest superhero IP in the world.
Mhm.
Like that's all it is, and not that's all it is in a negative term, but that's why we know what PlayStation have been up to this year. What else come out from PlayStation's camp that was amazing and what we all had to play?
I'll
This
be
year,
honest.
nothing.
Yeah. And what do we know that's coming as well is the biggest question. Like,
Nothing. We know Wolverine's coming. That's about it.
that's
from
it. We know
PlayStation side.
Wolverine's coming, and that might be 2 years away. So,
Yeah.
like, Xbox are at least saying like they are fulfilling their promise of saying, yeah, every quarter you are going to get a new game from us. And then PlayStation like, we have Spider-Man. Everyone likes Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, but I think the problem is over time now, right? We've had from PlayStation's point of view, we've had God of War, we've had Horizon, we've had Gran Turismo, we've had these great titles, and I think it's people are just comparing the two and going, look, Forza came out and didn't get the fanfare that Gran Turismo got.
Yeah.
That's what happened this year. Like usually Forza comes out and is in the 90s.
Yeah.
Forza's in the 80s this year. Hi-Fi Rush came out and is in the 90s, and I'm talking about Metacritic. I think it's in the high 80s, if not early 90s. And then you go across the board to some other titles, Starfield. And that's the game we have to talk about mainly here. Because if Starfield comes out and meets expectations for what we expect, and it's a hard thing to say again, because I played enough of Starfield to if it didn't have as many menus and as many, if it wasn't built like a 2013 game and it was built like a modern game, Starfield is up there as a Game of the Year contender.
Yeah.
But it's not. And with that comes the gripes that people like myself and Crash have, and Matt, I think, as well, actually. But yeah, I think I don't know, man. In a year where I'm playing games like Baldur's Gate and I'm going, okay, that's defining what a 2023 game looks like to me now. And then I compare that to Starfield. Obviously, extremely different games, of course. I'm not asking you to compare them like straight up. I'm just talking about how they are modernizing a genre and moving it forward. Starfield didn't do that.
No.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we wanted it to do. And just like Halo, and again, Halo Infinite made some good changes when that came out. But it wasn't enough for some people. I'd say the same thing for Gears for some people. Again, some of us may have enjoyed these experiences, but Gears changed its formula a little bit. But to some people, it wasn't enough to get them to buy into the series. And I think that's all where Xbox is at, is that they're making the right changes to make positive changes for their content they're putting out, but for the casual person who doesn't play everything Xbox like we do, it's not enough. And that's it, and that's all it is. That's all it is right now. But there definitely feels, I think there definitely does feel like there's a media bias against Xbox, but that is because Xbox put themselves in a box. I don't mean to, for a long time.
Into an
They're working their way out of it, and they're working their way out of it.
Yeah.
Was the same thing said about PS3 and the Xbox 360 generation?
Yeah,
Like-
that's exactly what I was about to mention. It was literally the same exact thing.
Christ, I gotta see your face, please. I can't anymore. It keeps making me laugh. Watch the
I
video
know.
if you want to understand. Yeah, like we weren't saying this about was there a 360 tax?
No.
No, there weren't. There was a PS3 tax at that point then.
Yeah.
I just think this
It's
is
It's a popularity thing.
It's a loser's tax rather than a particular company tax. Basically, if you are in third place, people are expecting you to knock it out of the park 10 times out of 10 to get back up there. And when you don't, people are going, well, look, this is why they're in third place.
people like hating on Xbox.
Oh, yeah. No, they love it. And
Like I'm not talking about critics, by the way. I'm
gonna
talking
say,
more
yeah.
like from a fan base point of view. But realistically, right? It's just like us. We get sent codes for games. I ask for a PC code. I do a weekly Xbox podcast, but I ask for a PC code for everything because that's my platform of choice now. That's where I play games. That's where my setup is perfect for how I play. Blah 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 blah. It's the same thing for anybody in our industry. Again, I use an Xbox controller. We use Game Pass for stuff. Like a PC has become very much what PlayStation Portal is now to PlayStation is what I use my Xbox, not the remote play, but you know what I mean, as a companion app to it. That's how I use my PC. That is how I use it. Whether you agree on that or not, that's the truth of it. Like
Yeah.
I use my PC. The reason I get my games on Game Pass is so I can take my laptop. That's the same
again,
thing. It's an equivalent.
I wouldn't. I personally don't agree with your analogy of like it's like the PlayStation Portal for Xbox, because I think this is exactly what Xbox wanted. They want people to play wherever they want. The PlayStation Portal doesn't let you do that. It's
No,
not
but
great, but-
what I mean is it's a companion app to PlayStation.
yeah, okay.
That's how and I did preface it with is how I use it, which
Okay.
is I use my laptop to go into the other room. It's not like I take my laptop, I'm not going anywhere. But like if I go into another room, I take my laptop and I can take my game with me. So
Yeah.
that's how I use it. So that's what I meant more like. But yeah, no, I definitely think it's an interesting conversation. It's one that we'll never know. We'll never know the answer. And until Xbox actually put out something that is undeniably a 10 out of 10,
Yeah.
we'll just know. I've never thought Nintendo games are as good as what people think they are. I've never thought that. I'm not a Nintendo guy. I'm not Mr. Nintendo. I play Mario Kart. I play Smash. I play, and not in like a real term. I'll play it very casually, and I'll play Mario Party. Those are my games. A Mario game comes out, and I don't instantly go, it's a 10.
Yeah.
I play it, I enjoy it, and I'll go, oh yeah, that was good.
I mean, we'd also have to like deny the love that Forza Horizon got when that dropped, right? That was getting tens when it dropped last year or whatever.
Oh
or when
yeah,
the
yeah,
Series
yeah.
X
Horizon
launched.
5, yeah.
Yeah. That game was getting so much love. It was up there for Game of the Year with a lot of people. Like, for an Xbox tax to have existed, that game wouldn't have gotten the love it did.
Yeah.
Pentiment got a whole bunch of love when that dropped. That
Nice.
game wouldn't have gotten the love it did, right?
Yep.
It's just a lot of these experiences that Xbox puts out aren't sort of these big Game of the Year candidate experiences. Unfortunately, they're not their niche experiences, because as big as racing is and as much as we love it, racing is still a niche genre. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. But look at what's to come from Xbox. I think that is the best way to end this conversation, where it's like they now have Activision, they now have Blizzard, they now have King. We don't know what they'll do with a World of Warcraft. We don't know what they'll do with a Overwatch. We don't know what they'll do with. There's so much IP here that can literally, what we were saying about Gears and Halo, where they can literally take an IP like, I'm not saying they're going to, but they could literally take an IP like Overwatch and go, you're now our single player story driven mode in this world. All right, go make that.
Yeah.
They can.
They can do that.
And that is more likely to be up there for a Game of the Year nomination than Pentiment, no matter how many 9s it gets, because the barrier to entry is so much smaller. So
yeah, and it's still a low franchise, because like if you're looking at Halo and Gears of War, the unfortunate aspect of those is how aged they are, and Xbox never really fully gave them a moment to like sit down and sort of reintroduce them. I guess you could make the argument with Gears of War 4, but I don't know what the time difference was.
They couldn't though.
No,
I
they
agree
don't have
with
the
you.
IPs. They don't really have the IPs to do it. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%.
They didn't have the IPs to Halo needed to go away. Gears needed to go away for people like me and Jucrest to be sat there going, where's new Gears? Where's new Gears? But that's what I think is going to happen after the next Gears that comes out.
I hope so.
I think it goes away, it disappears, and then they reboot it.
And then you reboot it, and you're allowed the luxury of making more changes without it being as drastically compared to the previous one. Because most people loved Halo Infinite, but you still have a bunch of hardcore Halo fans that are like, this is not my Halo. They messed it up, etc., etc. Whereas if you create that want for the game over a large gap of time, like Sony did with God of War, I think God of War is always the best example. You can refigure how that game works and still find a way to keep the core of the game. And I feel like Xbox has IPs that they can do that with. They just never had the luxury to be able to do that with them.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think you raised the perfect example there with the Overwatch idea of just being like, all right, you've got your multiplayer, we'll let that run as long as we've got the teams working on that, and balances and all that kind of stuff and new characters, but don't talk about it, don't mention it at all. In the background, just have another studio who want to work on a single player Overwatch, work on it, and then just shadow drop it out of nowhere.
I don't know about that.
Or alternatively, is what I was going to say, is give it the full kit and caboodle marketing behind it.
That's what I think it needs.
Yeah, just be like, but I'm saying like shadow drop an announcement, then maybe just be like out of nowhere, at a Game Awards, just like boom. Single player, this is everything we originally promised that we couldn't do. We're doing it now. We've got the backing behind us from Microsoft. Here's a massive single player campaign. Those are the kind of experiences now that hopefully will, again, like you say, we're talking about the Xbox tax and the bias and stuff like that. These are the kind of things that I think will change that thought process a little bit, with like Microsoft giving the players what they actually want. You'll get that positive spin on it a little bit more, and hopefully more of those situations. Maybe Call of Duty takes a year off and it comes back 2 years later with a bigger, better campaign, massive storylines, everything you wanted a multiplayer Call of Duty to be. And yeah, those are the kind
That's
of
never
things
going to happen.
I know
Call of Duty's still going to cry. They're still gonna cry.
Yeah, they're gonna. Yeah, they're still great. And
Whatever
also,
happens, they're gonna cry.
yeah. Also, I don't think that anyone would ever seriously say about, yeah, let's not put out another Call of Duty and make $1 billion this year.
Yeah.
I think there's different ways. I
Yeah.
think that's the big thing. Is they've got a new. Again, we're getting into a different conversation, so I won't go into it. But there's different conversations to be had when it comes to Call of Duty as a whole and what they should do personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, no, I don't think there's an Xbox tax. I just don't think Xbox have put out anything this year that is better than what has been put forward for Game of the Year conversations.
Yeah.
It's just a
Is the
really strong
truth.
year this year. It's
Is
a
the truth,
crazy
yeah.
strong year.
That's it.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you hadn't put out Baldur's Gate 3, you probably would have had Starfield in the conversation. But Baldur's Gate 3 is out there as the biggest and best RPG ever. Can you tell I'm back playing
Facts.
Baldur's Gate 3 by any chance?
I can.
No,
I
not
can.
at all.
I can.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it in a second,
Yeah.
shall we?
shall.
Let's jump into what's been in our box. Crash, we'll start with you though, bruv. What you been playing?
I played first I want to talk about a game that's not on Xbox. I hope comes to Xbox. Microsoft work on getting this game to Xbox. It's amazing. Lethal Company, which is the second it's tied up there with Baldur's Gate, to be honest, the most fun I've
Oh.
had playing with games with friends. It is a very, very fun experience
Okay.
that I wasn't expecting, because I saw the game's gameplay. Looks outdated as hell, doesn't look great. And I'm like, okay, it's $10. I'll buy it. I'm going to play with my friends. We'll play once and then whatever. It's a very, very fun game and a very, very fun experience that we should absolutely do a stream for at some point, but that's beside the point.
Yeah.
It's in early access right now, so they still got a lot of stuff to add. And I think the graphics and stuff like that actually benefit the game because it's easier to add content with that. I would love to talk more about it, but I don't really want to spoil the experience of certain things in case we do a stream for that. I think a lot of those live reactions would be dope.
Okay.
Besides that, I played Persona 5 Tactica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I downloaded it.
it. You're not gonna play it, are you?
Well, the plan, it's only 20 hours long. So the
Yeah.
plan is to play it, but we'll see. Go on.
It's a cool game.
Oof.
It's visually, it's appealing. It's got the Persona art style and like the stylishness of it. The music's fantastic. The gameplay's cool as well. It's just, it sort of falls into a similar category, probably even in a little bit of a worse state than Gears Tactics did for me when that dropped, where it was like, it's a cool tactics game, and I think Gears was a better one at that. But I haven't unlocked all the mechanics for Persona, so my opinion could change in like a week or two.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like it's missing some of those more like management aspects that I really like to have in tactic games, and that's what I would really love to see. So that's more so of a fan of the genre as opposed to a fan of the franchise, where I really love Persona. It really falls into that same Gears of War conversation we had whenever we covered that. I like it. I enjoy it. I think if you have Game Pass and you enjoy Persona, it's definitely worth checking out. I think if you enjoy tactics games and you aren't as the management aspect of it isn't as big of a necessity for you, it's definitely could fall up your alley as well. It's cool so far. I like the story they've set up. I think it's a very Persona story. Again, the art style, the music, all that stuff, phenomenal, as Persona games usually are.
Fair enough. I'll talk about some Alan Wake 2, shall we? Everyone's been talking about it. It's Game of the Year. Is it up there for Game of the Year? How good is it? How isn't it? Fixer, you're gonna love this game. And Despawn did the one thing he should never have done, which I've been moaning to Haley about. I've been moaning to Haley about the whole time while playing this game, which is he should never, ever, ever have said it was better than Resident Evil 2 Remake. I like it. Alan Wake 2 is a fantastic game. Crash, do not play this game.
Really?
You will not like Alan Wake 2 in the slightest.
Wow.
Story is way too convoluted for you. Story will make no sense to you. You haven't played the original. Anybody who says you don't need to play the original to understand this game, I think you're entirely wrong. Yeah, no. I don't get me wrong. I think visually it might be one of the most impressive games I've ever played. Gameplay wise is fun. I think I made the biggest mistake by some of the early fights. It was annoying me, so I put it down to story mode, and I shouldn't have done that because it's pretty much baby mode.
Yeah.
So I've kind of ruined the experience for myself a little bit in that regard. So I'm not getting as much out of the gameplay as I would have hoped for. I'm still enjoying certain aspects of it, but it's not as challenging, obviously, because I put it on story mode, as one would expect. Yeah, the game's amazing, but it is, if I didn't watch the 10-minute video just refreshing myself of what the fuck Alan Wake is as a whole,
Yeah.
I would be lost. I also don't like the fact that you should have played Control as well, and it very much is. It's a third game in a series that I didn't know was a third game.
Yeah.
To get the most out of it. It reminds me of a Marvel film, honestly, in a way where you're playing it and I'm enjoying it, and there's certain aspects of it that you're just like, oh, and I only know it because I know a tiny bit about Control. I never played Control. So I'm like, a certain thing has just happened in my story, where some people have turned up and been like, no, we got it from here.
Yeah, I know
Right?
that.
And I know that they're important because I understand what Control is, sort of thing. But if you don't know what Control is, you don't know what this world is, you don't, honestly, you will be lost.
Yeah.
You will be absolutely lost. And again, for what they've done in storytelling, I think Remedy have taken storytelling in games to another level. This story is amazing, and it's interesting, and the way they tell it is super multi-layered in terms of, you got the surface layer of video game there, right, which is just go through game, cutscene, whatever, and then you have its world building, which is probably, I was talking about Dead Space being the most atmospheric game that I played this year, right? This absolutely shits all over that, like it's not even close, which is what you said, Despawn. Yeah, it's the most atmospheric game I've ever played, I think, ever. I won't say too much again because I don't want to spoil it for anyone who's listening, but the music level is absolutely amazing. I think it might be one of the best. You know when you play a Titanfall 2 and there's that mission. That mission is this mission in this game where you're playing it and it's so well designed. Everything is timed to perfection. And it makes sense in this world. And again, Chris, you're probably going, yo, Fix, you're saying everything's amazing about this game.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I like it? Honestly, I think from the moment the game starts, you're not going to enjoy it. Because you're just not going to get it.
Okay.
It's not a Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
Where you jump in and understand rookie cop, Claire, looking for her brother. No. This is jump in the game. You better know who Alan Wake is. You better understand that he's a router. You better understand who Scratch is. You better understand this. You better understand. I know you know none of this. I know, and I think that's the problem with this game.
Yeah.
And maybe that's just the way I'm looking at it. Maybe I'm looking at it from that perspective, and maybe other people will disagree. Email in my Xbox and Me podcast @gmail.com. I haven't finished it. I'm about 3 chapters away from the end. The plan was to finish it tonight, but we'll see. If you like everything that I am saying, give it a try. Why the hell not? I know Crash more than I know most people in this world. I don't think Crash will like this game. Yeah.
So talking about what I played, I also played a lot of Alan Wake. I played a lot of Baldur's Gate as well, but you know, we all know that's going to be
We'll
game
get
of
to
the year.
that. We'll get to that. Yep.
So I finished Alan Wake. I ran through it in over last weekend. I agree wholeheartedly that this is a game that you need to watch a refresher on, and even then, it's still going to be So I'm familiar with Alan Wake. I love Alan Wake 1. I didn't play all of American Nightmare. I didn't finish Control, and definitely didn't play the AWE.
Which you need
DLC.
to have done, by the way. If I hadn't watched because I never played the DLC, by the way. If I hadn't watched the DLC, I wouldn't know who one of the main characters are in this world.
Okay. Yeah. But again, I didn't, and I still don't think it was a massive detriment to me personally. But I think they did a really good job. Well, you might not agree, but I personally think they did a really good job with the saga side of the story. I'm
still doing that.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we have definitely played it differently. So again,
So-
not to spoil anything too bad, but there's basically two sides to the story. There is
So
Saga's
let
side
me-
and Alan's.
Yeah, so that was one of the big things I said I didn't like about the game when it first launched. If anyone
Mhm.
remembers, I was very critical of the fact of they kept saying how you can play this in any order that you like, and hypothetically, yes, I guess
Mhm.
technically you can. The game very much sets you off on a path at the start,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then a certain thing happens, and it's like, oh, would you like to play the other side of this?
Yeah, yeah.
So my biggest problem with this game is I think they should have come out with a director's cut, and they should have had a if you want to jump from back and forth you can. Because the way
Mhm.
I played it was of play it through until we got to that moment, then
Mhm.
I switched to Alan, and then I did everything for Alan.
Right. Okay. So
And
I
now
did.
I've switched, and now I've been full switched back,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now I'm doing everything for Saga.
Yeah. So I did it completely different. So I made sure that I switched every opportunity I got.
Yeah.
So I would switch to. So when you first get the chance to switch to Alan, I'll switch to Alan. As soon as I finish like one story beat for Alan and I get the opportunity to switch, I'll switch back to Saga, and I'll just do that backwards and forwards constantly.
Which
And
I think is the right way to play the game.
definitely, because it definitely like there are bits that happen in certain missions that will make
Mhm.
absolutely no sense until you play the other side of it.
Yeah.
And again, I'm trying because I really want Crash to play this. I know you say he's not gonna enjoy it, but I really want him to at least try it because
Crash
like
doesn't get 2 hours into this game.
you know
I
like
don't think so.
No.
okay, I would say like there is a video from Future that they released of like the entire storyline for Alan Wake, including Alan Wake 2. So what I would say is watch the first half of that video.
Does it cover Control
It covers
as well?
yes, so it covers the Control
I
DLC
watched
as
one of
well.
GameSpots. I watched one
Yeah,
of
yeah.
GameSpots, and they did the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So they covered everything up to and including Alan Wake 2 and the ending as well. So obviously don't watch that bit. But it does a really good job of like just kind of giving you a recap of explaining how the elements in the game work. Because there is some weird ass fucking elements in this game that like the lake itself and like how that works is a whole like getting your head around that alone is a thing. So yeah, definitely watch a video if you've never played Alan Wake before or you've not finished the DLC for Control. But yeah, no, I personally like, man, I want everyone to at least try this game because what Remedy have done on a technical level, it's some of the best development I've ever seen in a video game. The way that
So
the way that they've combined live action and gameplay and storytelling and the loops and the different stories switching backwards and forwards and how they've managed to make it weird as all hell, but still how somehow like cohesive throughout if you're paying attention. I've still got questions about how certain things are, but
Sure.
I managed to I personally managed to follow it all the way through. But again, like I say,
Okay,
because I did the
So-
switching backwards and forwards and it made more sense as I'm going along.
that's not the biggest deal. Go on, Crash.
Okay.
so the music level you guys were talking about, right?
Yes.
Mhm.
The good one. How deep into the game is it?
About halfway.
Yeah.
Okay. That means I'd have to get like to the 7-ish hour mark.
If you get that far in, you might as well finish the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Brother, I'll give you the ability to play this game. No problem. But I just don't think. I think you're gonna start it and go, oh, this is interesting,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna very quickly be like, this is maybe not, but I love survival horror is my thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't think this is a very good survival horror game. I think it's a very good interactive story. This to me is more the evolution of what I wanted from a walking simulator than it is a good survival horror game.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is a good
But
horror
Let
story.
me caveat
go on.
that saying with I'm playing it on story mode. Maybe
Yeah.
that's why.
Yeah,
I
so-
feel like I have to try this game.
Yeah, you know,
I feel like because
yeah.
it's going to be a very interesting because I don't want to be siding on like it doesn't deserve to be game of the year or whatever the case is for the final conversation because both Matt and Despawn both very very big on it, right?
This game will be in my top 5 games, but not for the reasons that I think people would think it is.
Got it. Okay.
Like it's the same thing for me with like an Elden Ring, right? Where like I can play that and I can appreciate. No, just let me land. I can play that and appreciate what the game is. Like with this, I can play it. I can appreciate what is good. Like Despawn said, the live action, the mixture between live action and gameplay is the most flawless thing you ever see. It is absolutely the evolution of what Quantum Break, what they were going for in Quantum Break, where it was a case of, can we do this? Oh, we can do this. Can we do this on a better level than here's a TV show midway through your video game? Sit there and watch that for 30 minutes? And yes, you can. And maybe there's a short film in the game as well that you can watch. And maybe there's this and maybe there's that. Like, there's a bunch of stuff in this game that just makes it a technical masterpiece, honestly. But also, I need to say a couple of things. If you're playing it on PC, you cannot play this on a HDD. You have to play it on the SSD, which I found out the hard way. Every time I installed it all, was trying to play it, wasn't working. Nothing was loading. My map wouldn't load. Nothing. Couldn't figure out any of the problems. I'm like, I've got good PCs. Both of my PCs are very good PCs. Couldn't figure it out. Figured it out. It wasn't. I didn't install it on my SSD, which. You know, so just word of wisdom out there for anyone. You have to install this on an SSD if you're playing on PC. Obviously, that makes perfect sense on an Xbox or a PlayStation because you only have the choice of playing it off of an SSD. But yeah, go on, Crash. More questions. Hit me.
I forgot what I was gonna ask, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. No, like I say, I feel like it sounds like I hope I'm giving a fair, skewed opinion on the game, where like the game is fantastic. It's just, Crash, put it this way. You need to read everything.
So
everything.
Like a Resident Evil 2, I need to read everything? Or like
Crash. Resident Evil 2 doesn't even look at this game when it comes to reading everything. There are puzzles in this game that if you just don't read it, you're not gonna know what to do. There are story beats, just entire story moments that the context is not going to be there if you don't read things, because that's what Alan Wake is. He's a writer.
He's a writer, yeah.
And you'll understand that from the very start.
There are definite moments in the game, like I hit what I thought were solid, hard story walls. Like I don't know how to progress. There is a thing in the game, and they've been very vocal about it being in the game, is the mind place.
Yep.
If you do not do every element within a mind place, you will not trigger the next story beat. Which but
it's stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid. It is a little stupid, but if you get stuck for a while, the game will do that game thing where it's like, I should check that thing in my mind place.
When I say it's stupid, let me give a little bit more context. It does do that, but it doesn't do it well enough, in my opinion. For something that is so important. You put it this way. See the critiques we have for Starfield about having to go into menus? I have the exact same thing in this game. Where it forces you to do something that sometimes it skips for you, by the way. Where it's like, oh, I already have enough information. And then sometimes it's like, nope, nah, we want you to be the detective. Come on, do it. And it's like, I just want to autofill. This isn't fun. That part of the game isn't fun to me. I've got the information. I'm sure, and again, I'm sure some people will, some people won't, right? But like, that's part of the problem. Where it's like, that takes me out of the game. This game to me, Matt was saying, "Oh, this game, you'll get this done in if you just run through it." This game, I was like, this game's impossible to run through. Like you're missing half of the game if you just run through it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with like collectibles in this game. The collectibles are really smart. They do a thing where if you're upgrading a weapon, it's a part of the story, and that's something you don't see in games, right? Like gamifying a gamified moment, actually having context in the story of the game, was very interesting. I was like, wow, well, I did it because I only upgraded my gun like. Literally, it was yesterday night, so I'm towards the end of the game, and it's the first time I upgraded. And I was like, "That's a really cool mechanic. Like, that's dope." There's also certain things that like the game's so obviously like you're gonna go back and do this later, but it doesn't tell you that, so it just ended up pissing me off until I ended up having to. Jojo was in my chat. You all know Joanne who listens to the podcast. I ended up having to say to her, Jojo, Google this thing for me, find out if I've missed it, because it is doing my bloody nutting.
Without spoiling anything, because Chris, I really want you to play this game. Is it the puzzles that you find randomly around
No,
with the dolls? No, okay.
no,
'Cause
no, no.
tho-
Some of
tho-
those
Those annoyed
are
me.
hard. Oh,
Yeah,
some
yeah.
of those are hard, and some of them are easy.
Yeah, some of them are like
Um,
super easy.
yeah.
But yeah. So again, just to warn for anyone who is playing it, there are little dolls that you can find around, which you then put on a chalk drawing on the floor to solve a puzzle.
You're giving too much information.
Yeah.
Relax. Relax.
I mean, I'm
They'll
not.
get there.
'Cause
They'll
It's
get there.
basically there. But yeah, there are moments where it's like you can't do this now. You come back later.
Yeah,
and it-
but
but it doesn't tell you.
that.
Yeah.
So it's very annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Alan Wake too.
Yeah. I want to talk positively
Um,
about it, but yeah, no, it is a.
No, what?
No,
Positive.
I'm
The game's
joking. I'm
amazing.
joking. Yeah,
the game's amazing.
it is terrible at explaining its backstory. If you know it, you are gonna love it, and like I say, or if you watch a video on it, which I can recommend a couple, you are gonna love it. Definitely don't. I know they say that you can, but I definitely think it's a detriment to just rinse one story and then do the other. Flip as much as you can. It works so much better doing it that way because things link into each other better. You don't have to remember something that happened 10 hours ago.
The chapters are not long enough for it to not be like that. I'll be honest.
I mean,
I never struggled with that.
Okay.
I never struggled with that. That certain moments that I know you're talking about, and then it having context to it afterwards.
mhm.
I never felt out of place for any of that.
Right,
I'll be
okay.
honest. And the fact that you're telling people to do it that way, the game should have then been designed that way. Then
Yeah.
that's my point about you shouldn't leave things up to player agency if it then doesn't make sense.
If it's a detriment to the story, yeah. No, I get you. I understand.
So, yeah, Crash. I'll be very interested.
Same.
Very
Tune
interested.
into
Don't play
next
on
week's
story mode.
podcast.
Don't play on story mode. Whatever you do.
Yeah.
Don't play-
Yeah. I switched down to story mode for one point because it was just I was hitting a wall
you-
and I switched back. But yeah.
You can bump it back up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, story
Yeah, well,
mode is
'cause-
definitely story mode. You are there for
Yeah,
the
well,
story.
Well, you were saying about resources, right? Like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
resources are so. And I'm like, I have a
story
box.
yeah. Full of stuff.
Full of meds.
Mhm.
Like I can open a fucking pharmacy with how much medicine I have in my box. Like,
Yeah.
and again, and you got to remember the problem is you compared it to Resident Evil 2.
Yeah.
So I am now going in with those expectations, and I'm going,
It's not.
yeah, no.
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 That's the
It's
thing, yeah.
great.
On the harder
does some
levels it
things
is.
better.
Yeah.
It does some things better, but not shooting, not shooting or combat, in my opinion.
No.
But yeah, okay, all right. And Baldur's Gate, Despawn, you've restarted it.
Yes, I restarted it. I've already finished Act 1.
How many
Ooh,
hours
rushing
in?
through it.
I was gonna say, how many
Uh,
hours in are you?
I've done about, in my current playthrough, I think it says in the last 2 weeks I've done 23 hours.
Why are you rushing for, bro?
I'm not. I'm doing everything.
You know,
I am-
it's easier because he knows all the stuff. in
I
the
know
Act
certain
1, right?
things. Yeah.
Why
I-
are you rushing for, bro? Relax, like
enjoy
enjoy
it.
the ride, my
Hey,
bro.
I
guys,
am.
Enjoy
shadow
the
heart a
ride.
bit, you know.
Like,
I
I
was
am.
gonna say.
I mean, I got to first base with Shadowheart. Just saying. Me and Shadowheart
Yeah,
are
I mean,
we're
I
making
wish.
friends.
we haven't got to. I haven't got on my campaign. We haven't got to first base with no one. I keep rejecting people, Matt. I'm good.
Oh
Go
man,
away. Go away. I don't like you like that.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
no, yeah, no.
Interesting.
I am
yeah, go
loving
on.
it. I'm not rushing it. I think I'm just because I rushed to the first part of it because I'd done all that stuff.
Yeah,
But I'm now getting to the point. I've got to the point where I'm doing like all new stuff, and I'm doing everything that I can. Like I am scouring. I'm clearing up the map as to every little point that I can get to, and yeah,
I should tell you about me and the map, mate. Me and the map, we get really close. I scour every moment of that map. Let me
Yeah.
tell you. Chris, have you
Wow.
played more?
No. It's been holiday season over
Oof.
here. Everybody's been busy. Just
giving thanks, not playing Baldur's Gate.
Oof. Oof. Feel bad for you, man. I haven't
Yeah.
played it either.
Oh.
We decided to switch over to Alan Wake, so
That
it was
a
like,
mistake.
no, I wouldn't have got to it otherwise. Yeah. It's like me I'm going to start Spider-Man tomorrow, I think. Because I'm just
Hmm.
like, okay, I need to get to this. So like I'm now like, all right, well, that could be my stream game for I don't know 4 days probably. I don't think it'll take me that long to be honest with you. But yeah, I haven't played any more Boulders. That was all I've been playing is Alan Wake. So yeah. This week's dashboard, boys. We kind of all last week's news, if we're being honest, because we didn't do any news for last week. So we'll just run through a few bits here. Baldur's Gate 3 December release is going to be teased at the Game Awards. That has been confirmed by Larian Studios, which is awesome to know. Killer Instinct Crash. I did see this, and I thought you would be excited. It was Killer Instinct's 10th anniversary stream with Iron Galaxy. Upon release of the 10-year anniversary update, there will be 2 versions of Killer Instinct. You have Killer Instinct Basic Game, which will be free to play on all platforms, which is Xbox One, Series consoles, Windows PC, and Steam. The free KI base game will feature 1 free weekly rotating fighter and the single player local and rank modes. And then you have Killer Instinct Anniversary Edition, which is going to be $30 USD, which will include 29 fighters and all of the premium content ever released, the VIP double XP booster, and the holiday accessories and more. Excited?
Yeah. I've already planned I'm going to be jumping back into this game at some point soon.
Nice.
I'm very excited. They also released a patch for the game which updated which was a balance update which sort of bridged the gaps with some of the underperforming and overperforming characters. Look, I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm gonna leave it out all on the table. My headcanon right now, Iron Galaxy is making a new Killer Instinct, and until I'm told directly otherwise by a member of the studio, I don't care if Phil Spencer comes out. I need a member of the studio of Iron Galaxy to come and tell me they're not working on a new Killer Instinct. That is my headcanon. It might be that way for the next 50-ish years. I don't know.
That's fine.
I'll be
I
on my
get you.
deathbed like,
It's
did
coming.
Iron Galaxy release their game yet?
I'm
Iron Galaxy shut down, mate. What do you mean?
gonna say games take time. Sometimes 50 years. I mean, look at Star Citizen, right?
Yeah. Good point.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm happy for you, Crash. I'm happy.
Me
for
too.
you. Something.
Yeah,
Witcher 3 to release a mod editor for PC. This was on the Witcher's Twitter account or X account. We're thrilled to announce that we're working on a mod editor for the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. It will allow you to create your own experience in the game by making something completely new or editing existing quests and content. We're planning on releasing it free in 2024. Stay tuned and we will share more next year. Very cool. Very, 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 very cool. Again, as someone who now plays modded GTA for the last 2 years, let's say, you never know what the community will come up with. Yeah.
They'll make everything better. Like having played Cyberpunk modded way back when, like it was already like an amazing experience before they did the 2.0 update and everything like that. So I can only imagine what they'll do with Witcher 3, which is a much older game.
Yeah.
And the stuff that they'll fix that sort of has gotten, hey, that's just the way Witcher 3 works now.
Yeah.
On top of new quests they'll do and all that stuff, it'll be very, very interesting to see.
Yeah.
Co-op Witcher?
Possibly.
Maybe.
That'd
Yeah.
be nuts.
Yeah. Like I
No,
always love it.
That'd be nuts.
I always love when the
Probably play
community gets
horribly,
old.
but it'd be crazy.
I mean, it's what it is, man. It is what it is. Next up, Suicide Squad gameplay / story trailer. Crash, you've seen some stuff of this. I've seen a little bit of this. Where did this all come from, by the way? There was a dev diary thing?
Yeah, they're doing, I don't know, I don't think it's weekly dev diaries, but they're doing dev diaries from now until the release of the game, and this was the first official release. I think it dropped on the PlayStation blog. I'm not 100% sure where it dropped.
Yeah, so it was like a
Xbox
20. It was
like 19 minutes, a little over 19 minutes, I think. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. What'd you think?
I thought the game looked fun, if I'm gonna be 100% honest.
Okay.
I think the gameplay looked fun. The story, I'm kind of whatever on still. Everything else, I'm kind of whatever on. You know what the game kind of reminded me of? And I think it's going to end up being a detriment to me by the time the game comes out, but I can't help but make the comparison. It gave me Sunset Overdrive vibes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sort of. Because yeah, okay, all right.
It's a very vertical game and very like over the top, very similar to
Yeah.
Sunset. Yeah.
I think them talking about like the shooting mechanics and how they wanted to bring the Arkham style combat to that, and how you will have sort of shooting combos and stuff like you could do that and counters and
Mhm.
things like that sounds interesting. How it actually will be in performance is completely different, right?
Yeah.
But I think they sold me on a lot of the stuff they were trying to do with the game. Uh, this is gonna be one of those games where I'm not gonna care about the live service feature of it. I don't care about the back end. I don't care about anything past the main campaign. I think I learned that with the Avengers game, wanting more and hoping more from that game, and that game, depending on who you ask, delivered it far too late,
Yeah.
it's
or
trash.
didn't deliver it at all. So that's something that's completely out of my mind. I'm not looking at this as a live service game. I do not care about the live service aspect. If that part ends up being cool, dope. For me, I'm just looking at that first initial campaign run through for the game, and I am
Yeah.
excited for that from what I saw
You gonna play it with people? You gonna play it solo? What's the
with
plan?
people. I
Yeah.
with people for sure. I would be down to play the solo. I just hate in games where I'm forced to play with bots. It's always one of my biggest pet peeves for games like this. It was one of my biggest peeves with the Avengers game as well. I
Yeah.
absolutely hate having to run around with bots. I just want to run through it myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair enough.
get it.
Did you see any of this, Despawn?
I didn't see this. I've seen like previous stuff, but yeah, no, I haven't watched this one yet. I'm with Crash on this one. I have got no interest in the end game, the live service side stuff of it though. I don't. That's not what I want from a Rocksteady. I'm excited for them if this is something they're genuinely excited about doing, and they managed to bring a really interesting take into the live service genre. Awesome, but I'm here for Rocksteady storytelling. That's what I'm here for. That's what I want. I am all for developers like flexing their muscles in whatever they want, but yeah, everything I've seen about the live service side of this so far does not get me excited. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Like you say, if it is good when it drops, awesome, fantastic. But I really just want that fantastic storytelling that they're known for.
They showed a lot.
Was
I'll
it?
be
Did you say it was
honest.
90 minutes?
19.
No, 19.
Oh, 19. Oh,
Yeah.
19.
Yeah,
Okay.
19 minutes. They showed a lot, which tells me again, I hope they're not showing too much.
Yeah.
I do think less is more with these type of games because it just lets me experience it for what it is.
Mm.
The internet doesn't like it.
Yeah.
It's fair to say the internet doesn't like what they're saying. I'm willing to give it a try personally. Again, I'm someone who I put a lot of hours into Avengers on multiple consoles and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Same.
it's not like these type of games are not games that I'm used to playing or used to enjoying, because I definitely am. I didn't love it. I didn't love what I saw. But again, I'm not a DC guy anyway.
Yeah.
They did just add the animated series onto Netflix though. And I'd never watched that from start to finish, so I put it on my list. So
You should watch.
I think I might.
Well, which animated series? The Batman one?
Yeah.
You're in for a treat.
Yeah.
The Batman
Yeah,
animated
yeah.
series is fantastic with Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
and Kevin, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna wait and see. I don't love what I saw in terms of its gameplay, honestly. But I have to remember it's not a Batman game. I think that's the
Yeah.
thing that people keep comparing it
Yeah.
to, and I think it's so unfair to compare that to that. So I'll probably play it. I'll probably enjoy it, especially if I play it with friends. It'll be fun, and I'll get to it. Like you said, that Rocksteady story is kind of the only thing that's keeping me positive on what I saw.
Yeah.
But artistically, it looks nice.
Yeah. Everything I've seen from the story elements, like the story that they're trying to tell looks like a really interesting story. And if anyone can
Yeah.
pull that off in a like cohesive manner, it's gonna be someone like Rocksteady. So yeah, like if they nail that, awesome. But yeah, just none of the rest of it is like grabbing my attention.
Not even the gameplay. Don't vibe with it at all. That's fair.
No.
I don't
I-
really want
I-
a shooter from this
again-
kind of genre.
That's the problem. It's very much a shooter, and it's. I play enough shooters.
Yeah.
I wanted it to look a little bit different from what it does in terms of its gameplay. But again, let me play it. I don't think this is one of those games that looks very fun to watch being played personally. I think it's one of those games that you'll actually play it and get to experience it. Just like even the Guardians game. I remember being very critical of that gameplay from watching it. And ended up playing it, thinking it was actually really good when we did the previews for it and stuff. So Yeah, no, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt until I play it and I figure out if I actually am interested. That's the main thing. So, yes. Next up, Prince of Persia remake update. And this is from the Prince of Persia X account / Twitter account. As you know, the passionate team at Ubisoft Montreal, MTL, I think it is Montreal,
Yep.
is reimagining this legendary story. And we are glad to announce today that the project has passed an important internal milestone and development is progressing. We look forward to sharing more in the future.
Do you take this as a positive? This little reminder that it exists.
No.
The fact that it's only just, from what I'm reading here, it's only just gone past pre-production.
Well, no, they to be fair, they took it back, didn't they?
Yeah,
there was a whole thing where they were going to put out it very much looked like they were going to put out a subpar game, and
Yeah.
they didn't. They took it back and they've worked on it internally, which one thing you've got to commend the studio for doing that, understanding they're not hitting what people are expecting, and then going back to the drawing board with it. Look, I've never been a Prince of Persia guy, let's be honest, but Ubi are a big studio, and they get some things wrong. I feel like they're trying to be a company that speaks to their audience a lot more than they currently have been, and I don't think we can be negative about that. We're always positive about with other companies, and they've done a lot better. Again, look at X Defiant; they've been very transparent with that. Again, as much as we may not like it, Skull and Bones has been delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. We all know they could have easily probably shipped that in some terrible state, and they haven't. So again, I'm happy that they are communicating. I just, with this game particularly, I would have just stayed quiet and
Until you
kept
had something to
working on
show.
it until you had something to show personally.
yeah.
Because then you're gonna wow me. Now it's back in my brain again, going, oh yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
isn't ready. So yeah.
Yeah.
Is what it is. Another Ubisoft story. Ubisoft showing ads in the middle of games. Ubisoft is where are you getting this from, Crash? Because I haven't seen this one.
This one was from Windows Central.
Windows
which
Central?
Apparently, somebody posted up a video of
Okay, yeah. Recently, a
game
video being shared on X.
The ports.
What was it? Ports. Thank you. To show a sneaky little feature Ubisoft has interjected in one of its old games. Assassin's Creed Odyssey appears to be showing huge pop-up ads in the middle of gameplay now, despite previously being a fully paid premium title. There was an update here that Ubisoft says this was a technical error and has now been disabled. My question for you guys is: was it a technical error and it's been disabled, or were
Was
they
not
just seeing? They were
technical
just
error.
seeing if they could get away with it.
They were checking if they could get away with it for sure.
Yeah.
Because it was a Mirage ad or whatever for the newest Assassin's Creed game.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, how do you have a technical error that creates a UI that displays an ad?
They could technically sell it as it's supposed to pop up whenever you launch the game, which I think would be fine in that case, as opposed to being in the middle of your gameplay when you're playing the game or whatever. Because a bunch of games technically do that, where they'll have the little
Bottom right-hand
pictures
corner.
popping up. Yeah, bottom right hand corner of like, hey, the new game came out, it's on sale or whatever. Which is
FIFA are
absolutely fine.
notoriously known for this. FIFA do it on every single game. Like,
And again, to
think
be fair,
that's fine.
Ubisoft do that as well. Like I've
Yeah.
seen, like, I'm pretty sure in like Valhalla's got in their marketplace, there's a pop-up for Mirage.
So
personally, I don't have a problem with the
with
little
that.
things. I have a problem when you interrupt my gameplay.
Yeah.
Especially in something that I spent 70 to 80 pound on. Like, no, don't be doing that.
I could see it being a technical issue that they didn't like plan on some issue in the coding in the background as well. But I could also see at Ubisoft like, hey, maybe we just like try and slide this in and see if people are okay with it.
The thing is, they must have numbers to show that there's a conversion rate for it. Otherwise, they wouldn't be trying it in the first place.
Yeah.
So
I think for them, it's like the conversion rate versus the bad press to see which one
Yeah.
gets out.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. Yeah, Ubisoft don't do that. Guess the game. Whose week is it? Whose week is it? Crash, you go.
I go? Okay.
Yeah, you go. If you don't know what Guess the Game is, we ask yes or no questions, and we have to guess whatever game is being put to the cast. The scores currently are, if I can get them up on my phone really, really, really quickly, we have Crash on 2 points. Matt on 1 point, Despawn on 3 points, and me on 3 points. Kresh, I need you to pick one game at random, put 1 minute and 30 seconds on the clock, and we will begin to ask you yes or no questions. Despawn, are you ever going to get good at this?
Nope.
I know you got 3 points, but you should be above. You should be way above what you are right now.
Nope, I'm gonna be terrible every way. Like, I'm gonna rely on
Hmm.
other people to do the job well enough to give me a hint at what it is.
Yeah, I need it a little bit quicker with you. Every time we're together, you're just slow. Slow,
He's
slow,
always slow, no matter what. That's me.
So yeah, it's not you, mate. It's just me in general.
Oh, okay.
Also,
okay.
I am ill right now, so my brain is working at about 10% speed. So good luck,
Sure.
Sure.
as opposed to its usual 20.
I have my game picked out.
All right.
Let me.
You ready to put
pull
some
up-
time
I'm
on the
gonna
clock
pull
for
the
me?
timer on. Yeah, you guys think of good.
I'm ready.
opening
I'm ready. I'm
questions.
ready.
I know you're
There-
ready.
There's a couple. There's a couple that are pretty standard now. I feel like we've there's certain things you can definitely get with off the bat. Off the first 5 questions,
Mm-hmm.
you should have the year, the platform, things like that. Okay, you ready?
You guys
Should be
ready?
the platform's
Yeah.
Xbox.
Who's? It's gonna be Despawn and Fix.
Okay. Is it exclusive to Xbox?
No,
Was it a timed exclusive?
no,
Was it on the Xbox One originally?
yes,
Okay.
Okay. Was it a shooter?
yes,
Was it from Activision?
no,
Okay.
Okay. Was it a first-person shooter?
yes,
First person shooter.
Okay.
Okay. Was it from? Was it based in World War II?
no,
Okay.
Have they previously made a Gears of War game?
no.
Okay.
I don't
So
think
it's-
you're thinking.
I know what you're thinking of, and it's yeah. I'm gonna say, is there a combo system?
No,
Okay.
It's
definitely not that then.
okay. Xbox One. Damn. Third person, right?
First.
first.
First person Xbox One, not exclusive. Shooter, crap. Not exclusive. Did it have its own Xbox ever come out in like a customized edition?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't think the Wikipedia page is gonna tell me that.
Okay, cool.
Was it a multiplayer shooter?
Yes, it did have multiplayer.
Okay.
Was that the focus?
Was the Yes, I would say the multiplayer was the focus.
Crap, alright, that's time.
Time's up. So
Here's
go on. No.
There's one question you guys asked that technically I gave you guys the right answer. I'm not gonna change it. There's just a question in there somewhere that you guys asked that I gave you the right answer,
Okay.
and I'm just gonna say that I'm not gonna add anything else. You guys can go ahead and formulate. Your
So
guesses.
one of them could technically be wrong. Okay, great. That helps a lot.
It's not wrong. No, it's technically not incorrect.
We didn't even
Okay.
get the publisher. We didn't even get
No,
close to
no,
the publisher.
no.
That was the
So
You guys
so
didn't get a
just-
release window
No.
really, other than the Xbox One.
So just to clarify, we had Xbox One, third party,
Yeah.
first person shooter, multiplayer. You said was a
was
priority.
the focus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the focus. Wasn't Activision, wasn't Bulletstorm. We pretty much, I'm sure that's
not
the one you're
Bulletstorm.
going for. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's one of the other 40 first-person multiplayer shooters that came out on the Xbox One era, because that's pretty much all that Xbox did at that time.
Do you know what threw me off?
And it
Yeah.
wasn't World
The
War II.
exclusive question.
Yeah,
Because you were
that's
like,
interesting.
right.
Interesting that that threw you off.
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
I'm like,
So-
why would you? Is it
It's interesting.
exclusive?
Interesting that took you off.
Okay. So
Did you do
that's
that
the
on
one that,
purpose?
or is that the one that's
If
technically?
he did that on purpose, he threw off my whole game. He
Yeah.
threw off my whole
I'm not
game
saying
if he
nothing.
did that.
I'm not answering anything else. We made it that it's dealer's choice, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
My answers are my answers. So
Okay.
you guys
Yeah,
can
yeah,
go
okay,
ahead and
fair enough.
guesses.
All right. All right. I've got mine written down,
Okay.
so you can just say yours.
Battlefield 3. No, because it's
Mm.
Activision. But yeah, that's going to be my answer. I know it's wrong.
That's
Damn
not
it.
Activision. That's EA.
Yeah.
But
Oh, is
still
it? Yeah. Okay.
incorrect.
Okay. Cool. There you go.
Fix.
I put Battlefield as well.
No,
No,
there we go.
The specific game that I was looking at was Titanfall 2. I
Oh,
would have taken Titanfall as an answer. Titanfall 1
No,
wasn't
that's not
exclusive.
fair.
Yeah.
That's
Titanfall
not
2
fair
was
'cause
not
we
exclusive.
said the series. No, we said series though.
But it's not an exclusive.
the series isn't
but,
exclusive.
uh,
Yeah,
Well,
I
that's,
specifically looked up Titanfall 2. That is the
Oh,
specific game
shit.
I had in my mind. If you guys said Titanfall, 100% would have given it to you.
If we would have
That's
got
why
to
I
EA,
paused
we
at
would have
the
been
multiplayer.
fine. If
Yeah.
we would have got to EA, we would have been. And Titanfall 2 is not. Its focus was not its multiplayer. It was its
Yes, it
single
is.
player.
No, the single player ended up being bigger, sure, 100%. But you're not going to tell me Titanfall's focus was single player over multiplayer.
Titanfall 2's, yes.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Titanfall
wanna know
1
the- you wanna know
definitely
the
not
really
because it was the only
interesting
thing
thing
that
about
was
Titanfall
in
1
there.
only had exclusive
Yeah.
multiplayer.
You both want to know the really interesting thing about this? It's
Go on.
amazing. It's dealer's choice. So both of you guys can suck it and deal with what I gave you.
All right, well, the
All right.
points sit as they stand. Kresh has 2, Matt has 1, Despawn has 3, and I have 3.
Matt's still losing. That's all that matters.
Matt is still losing because
Yeah.
he sucks.
Yeah.
True.
All right, let's jump into Fix the Sack. Remember, you can email in my Xbox and me podcast at gmail.com or hit us up on the Discord or on Twitter at my Xbox and me, hashtag MXAM. Anubis says, as we're getting closer to Black Friday, I think it's already gone. I'm not going to lie. I have 2
Yes.
questions. Do you have a favorite gaming related item that you got? We already did this one.
Oh,
Yes.
did we? Okay.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is
we
the
did
last
this one. We
week,
did
yeah.
this one. Okay, cool. Fresh, where's the rest of my questions gone? Oh, they're
There you go.
here.
There you go.
Where am
There
I?
you go.
Anubis has this one to say as well. With the Game of the Year time upon us, I think it'd be fun for
Oh,
a
wait, we
Game
discussed this one as well,
Pass Game of
didn't
the
we?
Year.
Because we were talking about categories off of this question. Or was that a
Yeah,
different question?
said we did this one as well. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so just go to the next one.
All right, last one. Oh no, there's a couple more.
There's a couple
Sorry,
more.
I'll let you off. Darkness Zora. How many people do you think actually finished Baldur's Gate 3? Not saying you have to finish a game to know that it's great, but it's interesting that from what I hear, not many in the industry have finished it. Oh, that's a great question. Not many.
Yeah.
Look, comparatively, if you put 50 hours into a game and it's still not finished, as opposed to a game you could put 10 hours into and you finished it, I think you still have a very good comparison or like a very good jumping off point to say
Yeah.
that it's a game of the year game where you're like, I still want to put more hours into the game, I just don't have the time to.
Your
Yeah.
opinion is not invalid because you haven't finished the game. And we
Yeah.
learned that on this podcast over years, right? Like, there's plenty of games that we've now gone. And I think as you get older, you learn that as well. Like, you can enjoy something without, especially in the video game medium, without finishing it. You can still say it's a great game. You can still know its systems, things like that.
Yeah.
I'd say most of the reviewers probably finished it because that's what reviewing games is. A lot of people like, especially big companies, like games to be reviewed. I would say a lot of people that have played Baldur's Gate probably haven't finished it. No. But
Yeah.
if you've made it through to I'd say probably 2. Once you've made it through to Act 2, you know what that game is.
Yeah.
Now, the story is going to be drastically different based on people's playtime, obviously, because you will finish the story or not. But you understand the mechanics, you understand this world, you understand the systems, you understand how the game plays. Like, yeah.
Also, just this, like with the idea of finishing Baldur's Gate 3, if you like want to really talk about like a reviewer having a full review of that game, they would have to play through the game and make every choice possible to fully get a grasp of
Yeah.
everything you can do in the game, which is
With
just,
every character type.
In different
Yeah.
builds and
Mhm.
yeah.
it's just
Impossible.
infeasible.
Yeah.
Impossible.
I don't think it's there's not really like many games out there that you could say having a terrible ending is like completely changed your thoughts. And like Baldur's Gate 3 might have a bad ending. I don't know yet. But like 99% of the time I've had in that game has been amazing. And
Yeah.
that's what my takeaway is at the moment. Like there are certain games that I've played this year where the ending has made it better for me. And yeah, so I'm interested how many people have actually finished it. I think there's probably a lot of actually reviews that haven't finished it. I think they've done what we've done, like they've done like 50, 60 hours of game time in there, and they've been like, yes, this is one of the best examples of this type of game ever, without even finishing the story.
See, I disagree. I think a lot of people mainlined it.
Okay.
I would say a lot of
they've
reviewers probably
definitely-
mainlined it, and they probably did roll credits, but they hadn't. They haven't had the
I think
most
it's also-
fully
experienced everything.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's also a question of how long reviewers had access to the final build, right?
True.
Because they could have like this game, there could have been a final build ready for reviewers
Yeah.
because of the way the game works for a while.
Yeah, we didn't get reviews, but I'm pretty sure it's pretty long. I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
So, yeah. But yeah, no, it doesn't change the fact that Baldur's Gate is Game of the Year, and no one's going to tell me otherwise.
Well, we'll see
Yeah.
next year
Yeah,
when we
technically.
do our when we do our
Technically,
conversation about it.
yeah, we will.
Eh.
While Jeremy Enter says, out of all of the Game of the Year nominees for the Game Awards, which do you think could survive the longest? Which do you think you could survive the longest as yourself in, and why? Spider-Man?
100%. Like that's
Yeah.
an easy answer.
Yeah,
Yeah, Spider-Man.
The
Yeah,
answer
yeah.
is
That'd
either
be me.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Like I was gonna say maybe it's Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but like
No,
Nah,
I
there's
think-
evil piranha plants and stuff like that. No, it's Spider-Man for sure.
We'd get Mario on LSD dressed as an elephant jumping on us all the time. I don't want that.
That's terrifying.
That is
Actually,
terrifying. Yeah, walking around New York, maybe you get the odd armored bad guy running down the street. Just stay home that day. You'll be fine.
Well, I mean, the thing
Just-
you got to
just-
do is just move out of New York. You guys are in the UK. You guys are gonna be
Mm.
Yeah,
fine.
we're
Oh yeah, we're
fine.
totally fine. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You guys are cool.
Yeah,
So
we're
I
good.
start in New York and just get a flight out and
Exactly.
sort it.
None of the games
Yeah.
have ever had an attack on an airport, so we'll be fine. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I mean,
Quickly,
I
let's just go
mean,
through what are the game of the years.
technically,
We had Baldur's
Alan
Gate.
Wake.
Yeah, Alan Wake, absolutely no chance. Like people
I
die swimming in a
mean-
lake,
I mean,
maybe.
just don't know Alan. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's it. Just don't. Well, I can't answer this one without spoiling stuff. Baldur's Gate 3. Everybody's dying everywhere.
It's a horrible, horrible
It's
world
just
for everybody.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do not no. I
But
mean,
you
I
could
don't
get
know.
brought back to life.
That's true. But
You could
how-
die and get
how
brought
many-
back to life naked, and then
Sometimes
just carry
the
on.
sometimes the
Yeah.
way you get brought back to life though is not the way you want to be brought back to life.
No, I don't want that.
True.
Yeah, yeah. Then you
True.
had Legend of Zelda. I mean,
No, that game's always
No.
in like
horrible
always a war.
goblins. There's always horrible
post-apocalyptic-
goblins.
apocalyptic settings and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Ganon ain't a
No.
cool guy to have as a neighbor. Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't want that.
Spider-Man. Spider-Man's the
Yeah,
only
Spider-Man.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Not Resident Evil 4.
No. Well, no. I don't think I don't want to look
technically-
for a zombie
I mean,
apocalypse.
technically, Resident Evil 4, you'd be fine. Just don't go to the island. I mean,
Yeah, I'll Raccoon
I
City.
mean, wouldn't you technically have to like start at like the central point of the game?
That's
I
true.
mean,
yeah.
Leon doesn't even do that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, you just like
Just
You
turn
once
up in
that
a
cop
cab.
goes missing, you just dip.
Yeah.
Right?
You get that
Yeah.
call from the president. It's like, you know what? I'm busy that day.
I
Sorry.
don't think this is for
I'm
me.
good. I'm good. I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Yeah, Spider-Man's the answer, definitely. And the last question this week, Top Lift 91 says, if you guys are in Gears 5 and at the end of
And you're in the position of Kate and have to
Mhm.
choose who is to save and who to sacrifice. Of the other hosts, who do you choose and why?
oh,
I actually
okay.
misread this question and I assumed it was just asking us who.
Yeah.
chose.
Yeah,
This is actually a very interesting question. This is a mean question.
so the question is, who would I survive? Who would I
Yeah.
choose out of the cast?
Yeah.
Mine's is I unfortunately mine's is very easy.
Go on.
Mine's is fixed for sure.
Yeah, mine's Crash.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Then I guess mine's Matt. Fuck you guys.
Oh, come on! If I've got to choose between me and Crash spend
yeah.
endless amounts of hours together. Like more than I used to spend more time with Crash than I did Haley.
I spent like
Like-
8 hours a day sat in your stream with you.
It's not
Yeah,
the
but
same. Me and
you're working.
Yeah, like, yeah.
No,
boss,
minimal,
if you-
minimal.
I'm gonna say, boss, if you ever see this, I am 100% working. I didn't do any goddamn
are.
work.
No, but you know what I'm saying. Like you gotta remember, yeah. Like I've known Crash before I had 1,000 followers on any platform.
Now let's
I
give
knew
you
Crash.
1001. No, I'm joking.
No, but I'm being serious. Like
Yeah.
before I had worked for any game company, before I got game codes.
before
like-
Fix was growing out his facial hair.
Mhm. Before fix
that's-
it puberty. Yeah,
Yeah, no, okay, cool, whatever. There's nothing to be mean to me. No, but like, you know, like I couldn't watch my boy die like that. And we
I mean,
assumed
you-
dead.
I mean, you can look away. It's fine.
The ending is very like definitive, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, but that's
Yeah.
well, that's
Patrick
what I'm
Wallace.
scared about with this new game. And then Matt, I mean, It's Matt.
Bad takes.
Anyone who picks Matt, including you, Despawn, is
Okay.
just,
I mean,
you know,
Matt
You're
pays
free
me.
to pick whoever you want. Despawn.
Matt's your just because Matt's your boss. I don't
Just
mean
because,
shit. All
yeah,
right.
just because Matt's my sugar daddy. Yeah.
So what, you're picking Matt, Crash is picking me, and Matt would pick. Who would Matt pick?
Top left.
Top left. No,
Yeah.
Matt would. I think
Well,
Matt would probably
we'll-
pick.
We'll leave it for Matt next week.
Yeah, we'll find out
ask
from
him
Matt
this
next
question
week.
on the
Well,
spot.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Can't wait for him to not be here next week.
He's definitely not. Well,
Yeah.
when's
When is it,
the Game
January?
Awards?
The
Game Awards
7th.
is the week after.
So are we
7th of
doing
December.
prediction for like announcements and stuff like
Next
that?
week. Next week.
week.
Well, didn't we kind of really do? Oh, for the announcements. You mean like
not
yeah,
for the
yeah.
rewards.
Yeah, no, we'll do a topic of the show next week, which will be our Game Awards predictions, which won't come true any of them, but it'll be fun to do anyway. And I promise I'll change it up. It won't be my usual
I won't
fight
change it.
night and things like that. Chris will still be asking for
We
Killer
expect the
Instinct.
Killer
Three,
Instinct.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll
After this
change it
news,
up.
I can't change it up. You know.
True. All right, let's plug and get ourselves out of here. Decent. What we got to plug this week, dude?
YouTube.com/my Xbox and me. Just because.
Just because. All right, perfect. Sure, whatever. Crash, what you got to plug?
Me and Matt did a spoiler cast for Lies of P over on the My Xbox and Me My Xbox and Me YouTube channel that you guys can
Also,
go and
Should have went out on the podcast feed.
should have went out on the podcast feed as well. So if you
Yes.
guys saw it and listened to it, just wherever you guys want to absorb that, you guys can go ahead and absorb that, I guess. Leave us feedback for a future spoiler cast. I know the boys are planning to do an Alan Wake one, which I may join in on, maybe not. Fix might not even join in on it, but I'm sure Matt's very excited for it, and I'm sure Despawn really wants to get into the meat of that game. So leave any sort of feedback for format or anything you'd like to see done differently with spoiler casts.
We've definitely got plans to streamline it a little bit, but yeah, definitely your feedback is definitely wanted. Yeah, hit me up everywhere at MC Fixer. I suppose right now I'm prepping for the day before, so
Same.
with fingers crossed that actually comes out, which I'm very scared it won't, because every time I click the page on Steam, it breaks my Steam
Does it really?
every single time.
Have faith,
Scary.
man.
I'm going to try
Scary.
that after we finish recording.
Well, yeah, we'll see if that comes out or not on the 8th or the 7th. I think it's actually the 7th. If not, I will probably be in a COD main again. So if you enjoy watching, what is it? Warzone.
Yeah.
Come check me out. New Warzone comes out 6th. Crash.
You want me to jump in with you?
Yeah.
I'll jump
Come
in
back.
with you.
Come back.
I will.
mean-
No. If you're legitimately asking me, I will jump back in with you.
I'd like to, yeah, because I would like to
Okay.
get a group.
I mean, I'm off on the
I
8th.
miss playing games together, guys. Yeah, but we'll be playing day before then.
That's true. Maybe.
That's
possibly.
before all day. What do you
But-
mean?
I mean, if Steam doesn't break.
When's
If-
that
if
supposed to
it-
drop again?
7th.
7th. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the day. I think it's the same day as the Game Awards.
Oh
Yeah.
yes, because we were like, we'll play it to the Game Awards and then
We'll play it
watch
all the way
react
through
to it.
till the Game Awards,
Yes,
and then
yes,
we'll
yes.
finish, and then we'll play it all the way through the night.
Oh, and
until
that's
our
crashing your
brains fall
Steam.
out.
I'm gonna let you know right now if that's actually gonna happen. Let me
Every
see.
every time I click it, it crashes my Steam. Every single time.
I'm not clicking anything because I'm recording, but I will check after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, go check me out on Twitch. We're definitely working on the Twitch channel is there. So if you want to go drop the My Xbox and Me Twitch channel a follow, go do that. We was working on restreaming, but for some reason I weren't getting the email for it to come through. So that was a whole thing, but we'll figure that out. Yeah, man, plenty of good stuff to come.
The page on it opens up for me fine.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's just a me
It opens
issue.
up for me. It's
Maybe
a
just
you-
when
it's
you
just a me
apply.
issue. Maybe it's just a me issue. Maybe. If not, I was thinking about playing DayZ. You ever play DayZ?
Ooh.
I've never played Daisy. I wouldn't be opposed to playing Daisy if that doesn't end up coming out that day.
We're just gonna play
Just a Dave's
DayZ
on-
instead. Or have you got Tarkov?
I'm not, but if you want to do Tarkov, I would be willing to as well. but
Tarkov's
I've never played
expensive
it.
though.
Is it?
Is this still?
For the base.
Bro. No, but you can't
base is
buy the
pointless,
base.
yeah,
I'm pretty
true.
sure like it's pointless to even buy the base game
Like,
unless you wait for the wipe.
Because
Well-
here's a stick. Go for it.
Yeah.
Let me see. Maybe I
I
should
think
have
I
checked.
can drop you guns though.
hmm
This is a conversation we should have later. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah,
Yeah,
we'll have
we'll
that
figure
later.
something out. We'll figure something out. We're
Then we'll
gonna
be
get you a
shooting.
day one of the days. One of the days we'll be shooting something, correct? All right, boys. Until next time, we'll love you, leave you. See you all later. Thank you all for watching. And good boys.
Bye.
So you.